Hi guys, welcome back to your practice. I have been working on fixing a scapula winging in my own body, especially when it comes to doing arm balances or even just anytime my arms are by my ears in downward dog or handstand. And then in general, just working on my posture. So if you have scapula winging, this is a practice to support you with drills that you can do so that you have better alignment, better posture. So, before we get into the drills, I want to talk about what scapula winging is and what that means in your body. So, I'm going to turn to the side, and if I was to just let my shoulders round forward, you might see that there's a little bone that sticks out, which is my scapula. And what's happening is my shoulders are rounded and they're tilting in an anterior tilt. So the bottom of the shoulder blade is sticking out. Now, if I was to think about pulling my sternum up a bit, pulling the fronts of the shoulder heads back, I will find more of a neutral and posterior tilt of my scapula. So let's talk about the movements of the scapula. This is protraction, so I am widening my shoulder blades. And this is retraction, bringing them together. This is depression, bringing the shoulders out of the ears. And this is elevation. When we do handstands, we want a little bit of protraction and a little bit of elevation, and the arms are in flexion. So this is flexion, this is extension. And then we have internal rotation and external rotation. So when the scapula is sticking out of the back and winging, that will support more internal rotation. So what can happen is if you don't naturally have internal rotation in the arms, your scapula will help you. So if you lack internal rotation, I have another practice using functional range conditioning to improve internal rotation. I'll link the video below. So when we are letting the scapula stick out and wing, again, that might support internal rotation, but the work is to pull the shoulder blades into the spine while being able to internally rotate and externally rotate, and while being able to both bring the arms up into flexion and down towards extension. So not letting the scapula stick out. Let's get into some practices. So come to your hands and your knees, and we're going to start by just doing retracting and protracting. So keep the rest of your spine neutral. So the belly can be a little bit engaged. The neck is long. You're letting the scapula come in, and then you're widening it out. Lengthening the crown of your head forward. The neck is neutral. The pelvis is neutral. Good. Now I want you to hold protraction and then just move forward and back a little bit. So what's happening is this is training towards, again, like downward dog or handstand. We're trying to keep the scapula more neutral, and in protraction, we're spreading, spreading, spreading while we bring the arms towards flexion, which just means the arms are going up by the ears. It's easier to do it here than when you are bearing weight in your handstand practice. So trust me, this will support your handstands. Okay, let's do the same thing, just popping down on the forearms. Try to bring the hands as wide as the elbows. Why is that? Well, when the hands are closer together, that is internal rotation, right? Again, internal rotation in general will support more scapula winging, bringing the hands in. So we want to bring the shoulder blades in, more posterior, more into the spine. So we'll bring the hands a little wider to support that. Okay, hands in line with the elbows. Same thing, protracting. So you're not dumping your chest. You can think that you're bringing your sternum into your back. That is a cue that really works for me. So think that you're pushing the ground away. You're bringing your sternum into your back. And if you want an extra challenge doing this, you can put a band around your wrist. Band around the wrist will make this a little bit more challenging, turning on those muscles even more. Let's do 3 or 4 more. Fingers are spread. Spread, spread, spread the shoulder blades. 1 more. Okay. Now we're going to do a little stretch. So you can look down at your right pocket, and we're going to do kind of a smelling your armpit stretch. So bring the right arm up, bend your elbow, and this is just going to stretch out kind of the levator scap, the neck, and the subscapularis. It's just some muscles that are engaged in moving the scapula. So a really gentle pressure, just holding kind of the back of the neck. And then the opposite arm can reach out and just lift that left shoulder up and then let it go back down. Do that again. Shrug it up and then back down. And then reach it all the way down and back. So you're pulling that left shoulder out of your ear. You're still looking over to the right. Nice. Reach away and then flex your left wrist. And then turn your armpit up and turn your fingers down. So externally rotate that left arm. And then if you want, you can bend your left elbow and bring it around. And just gently press your left arm into your lower back. Let's do the other side. So look over towards your left pocket. You're going to smell your left armpit. Bend your left elbow. And keep looking down a little bit. Reach the right arm, opposite arm away. And then you're going to lift. So elevate that left or that right shoulder and then depress it. Good. Do that again. Lift. And then roll it down and back. Good. And then reach back away. You're depressing the right scapula down and away from your ear. So creating space in the neck. And then you can flex into your right hand, flex the wrist, and then roll your hand to the right. So turn it like you're turning a doorknob or opening a jar. Take another breath there. Just gently pulling your neck any amount to the left. Breathe in, breathe out. And then if you want, you can take your right forearm behind your lower back and kind of press it into your lower back. Good. Breathe in, breathe out. All right, shake it out. And then we'll do one more little stretch here. You're going to bring your hands, interlace your fingers just above your occipital ridge, so at the bottom of your hairline. And then instead of back bending, I want you to keep your core engaged. So think no back bend, tall spine, and you're going to gently press your head into your hands. And then you're kind of protracting again. So you're spreading your shoulder blades forward, right? So thinking that your chest is moving into your back a bit. Good. So keep that. Keep equal pressure of the head pressing back and the hands pressing forward without back bending in your lower back. Just lift the head and the sternum ever so slightly. And then look down ever so slightly. It's very subtle. Try not to back bend in the lower spine. And don't let your shoulder blades come together. Keep them spreading. One more like that. Very subtle tilt of your chin up. Almost like lengthening. And also think that your chin is going back a little bit. So think double chin, like if you're trying to wrinkle and make an ugly chin, a double chin face. One more. Head presses back, hands press forward, spread your shoulder blades, chin is back. Tiny movement up and down, tiny, tiny, tiny. Okay, hopefully you felt that. For the next practice, we're going to use a band. So we're just going to do another round of the protraction, retraction, and we're going to add on. So you're going to take a band. If you don't have a band, you can skip this portion or do it without it. So bring it around your scapula. You can do this standing or kneeling, and you're just going to retract and protract. Retract. Just adding some resistance to what we already did. And then we'll do the same thing on hands and knees. Retract, protract. Bring them together, spread them apart. The spine is neutral, the neck is neutral. One more. Now we're going to keep protraction. We're going to keep it. We're going to go forward and back. Just a little bit. Keep spreading, keep pushing. Okay, take your band and kind of cross it a couple times so it doesn't spread out. Bring it to your scapula again. You can have the bands around your palms. You're going to take your arms out, lift the shoulders, and then spread them. Lift, push out. One more. Push. Good. Push forward and out. Forward and out. One more. You're pushing the whole time, protracting the whole time. Now we're going to go to the wall. You can find something to slide your hands on, just a towel or a t-shirt, any material to help you glide. You can add extra resistance if you want with a band. We're going to put our forearms on the wall and do some glides up and down. So palms are spread. Again, keep the hands as wide as the elbows. And feel into protracting and bringing the shoulder blades into the spine. So the opposite of rounding, right? Shoulder blades in, fronts of the shoulders back. And we are gliding up and down. So keeping the abs engaged, keeping the glutes engaged. Nice and slow, using the breath. And remember, we're protracting the whole time, so try to keep that spreading action. Two more. Last one. Beautiful. Now we're going to add a little resistance to our protraction. So you're going to grab any band, doesn't matter how long it is, and you're going to pull the band apart as we move towards flexion. And the key here is continuing to protract. So don't let the shoulder blades come together, spread them. Think that you're pushing the whole time. So think about that action at the wall, of pushing the wall away as you take the arms up and down. Keeping the core engaged. Easy breaths in and out of your nose. Don't hold your breath. One more. Pull, pull, pull. Push. Spread the shoulder blades. Beautiful. And then if you can, grab a smaller band. If you don't have a smaller one, you could wrap up a longer one or even use like a yoga strap if that's what you're working with. So same idea of being on our forearms. We're just going to add some resistance and go towards flexion. So you're moving the hands out. You could put the band around your wrist, moving the hands out the whole time. And your palms could face forward or each other. And we're going to move towards flexion, spreading the shoulder blades. We'll do 5 of these. So try to keep the elbows in line with the wrist, so not out here. Yeah? Moving the hands out. And also just notice what the rest of your posture is doing. Can you keep everything else neutral? So you're really working where the arms are in the shoulder sockets and you're really working the scapula. No back bend in the spine. Okay, and then we're going to bring the arms down into a little goalpost shape and back up. You could bring them in front and you can also bring them behind. Two more. Pulling the forearms apart. Try to keep it even. Beautiful. We're going to do the same thing at the wall, so just adding some resistance. So we have our band and we have our material to slide. The band is around your wrist. You're pretty close to the wall. You are protracting and bringing the arms up and down. Good. We'll do 5 of these. You should feel work. You should feel fatigue if you're doing this correctly, especially if you have scapula winging. Move slow. Abs are engaged. Legs are strong. Glutes are engaged. Your body is toned and working. No back bend in the spine. Neutral spine. One more. Last one. Beautiful. Another way to support bringing the scapula more tilted down and into the spine, so again, getting rid of that rounding, is through external rotation. What you're going to do is take your thumbs and think that you're moving them out. So you are pulling the fronts of the shoulder heads back. You'll feel the scapula moving in. And so this also supports spinal extension. So you're not doing this through a back bend, but it does support moving towards a back bend. So it should feel like the spinal muscles, the back muscles are active. But I want you to try to find the movement from the arms and not through back bending, if that makes sense. So the thumbs are going out and the fronts of the shoulders are moving back. Two more. So spine is neutral. Go to your end range and pause. And we can add resistance to that with a band. You've got your bands, your thumbs are facing out. Again, keeping the spine neutral, you're just pulling it apart. And really important, again, you're not rounding the shoulders. So think that the fronts of the shoulders move back and the scapula moves in. I'll show you from the back. So instead of this action, we want shoulder blades down and in, fronts of the shoulders back. Pull. And move with control. So as you come back in with the hands, see if you can do it really controlled and slowly. Last one. Hopefully you felt that one. Let's move right along. I'm going to do a subscapularis stretch. This is part of your rotator cuff muscles, and this will also help with external rotation. I have an entire video dedicated to external rotation mobility. Incorporates a little bit of this, so I'll link it below. Definitely check that out. Use a pole, anything you have around the house, your broom will work. Bring your arm inside, bend your elbow, and then take your hand around. You can make like the OK sign and put your OK on the outside. You're going to give yourself a stretch just by pulling the pole at a diagonal and just stretching these muscles on the back. And you can gently protract and create a little resistance, pushing your hand into the pole. And obviously, the more you rotate, the more you're doing external rotation. So let's just take a 5-count breath in and out. You're pushing equal and opposite resistance in, out. One more. Good, maybe you can go a little deeper. Let's switch. Bring the pole in front of you, bring your arm on the inside, and then bring your hand to the outside. You can make the OK sign. Grab with the opposite hand and give yourself a little stretch. You're keeping your elbow kind of shoulder height, so it doesn't have to be high or low. And again, push back into that pull, and let's take 5 breaths. One more. 3. Keep pushing, relax the shoulders, and spread the shoulder blades. One more. Maybe you can go a little further. Beautiful. Okie dokie. We can get rid of the pull. And we'll just do another little stretch here for the shoulders. So turn your thumbs down and try to slide your fingers into your armpits. This might be really hard to do, so you can also use your other hand to guide your finger into your armpit. And then what I want you to do is think that you're bringing your shoulder down. And you could even do like some circles here. And again, you could do one at a time. if it feels hard to get your fingers there. Otherwise, you could do both at the same time. And just some really easy scapula shoulder shrugs. This is also flexing your wrist and getting into kind of the back of the shoulder head. One of my favorites. From here, you can actually bring your elbows inside your knees, and you can press the elbows out into the knees, and you're pressing the knees into the elbows. So equal resistance. This is spreading the space between your scapula, supporting protraction, clearing up any tension, any density in that upper back area. Shrug your shoulders up and down. One more. Good. And then just do a couple of moving the elbows forward and back. Up, down, and back. One more time. And then you can shake the wrist out. Cool. So now we're going to add a little bit of resistance towards this new shape we've already worked towards. So we'll start on our forearms again, like we did at the beginning. Again, the hands are as wide as the elbows. We're going to move forward and back. And then we're going to come into like a down dog on our elbows. So spreading the shoulder blades. So don't let your chest dump. Spread, spread, spread. And you're going to lift up. You're still spreading. And then we'll do like some scapula shrugs. So we will let the chest drop a bit. And then we'll spread. So retraction and protraction. Your knees can be bent. It doesn't have to be some full expression of dolphin. We're just focusing on the scapula. One more. And lower. And then come on to a forearm plank. We're going to continue to build this capacity and strength. Spin your heels to one side and bring the opposite arm up. Keep these fingers facing forward, yeah? Don't let your arm roll in. And then just very, very slightly let the shoulder dip and spread. So again, it's still retracting and protracting. It can be very small. And then really stay in protraction, and you're going to reach down and up. Swivel in and up. One more. Other side. So starting just by shrugging and spreading. Retract, protract. One more. Stay in protraction, and then you're going to reach. Little serratus, core strengthening work. Everything is connected, so this activation supports you having more control and stability of the scapula. All right. Let's spread the shoulder blades in forearm plank. Spread, spread, spread. Belly in, legs are engaged, hands are wide. Spread, spread, spread. And then relax. Take a moment. Deep breath in and out. We'll do a simple stretch for our lats. So you can walk your hands out into a child's pose, and then walk your hands over to the right. Stretch your arms long, and you can do like some gentle rocks left and right. Your arms are straight. You're pressing your hands down into the floor, and you're spreading your shoulder blades. And then turn your thumbs up And we'll just lift the right hand, pressing the left arm down, and then lift the left hand, going back and forth. Lift the right and lower, and lift the left and lower. And then other sides. You'll walk your hands far over to the left. You're lifting your belly over your thigh a bit, and you're pressing your arms down. So you're really working your arms. So this is not passive. The elbows are straight. You're pressing your arms down, and you should feel maybe a nice stretch in this outer shoulder, maybe in the ribs as well. Think that the elbows wrap down. Take another breath, pressing, pressing, pressing. Good, and then lift the left arm up. You're still pressing the right arm down, and release. And then lift the left arm up, and release. Let's go right, and release. Let's go left, and release. Beautiful. Come back up. Nice. Here is another stretch you can do using a bench or a chair. This is going to be one of my favorite stretches to support you in preparing for any, again, arm balance. Anytime the arms are up by the ears in flexion, keeping protraction, keeping the shoulder blades into the spine. So we're going to use a block, and you could use a yoga strap or a band. So either one is totally fine. I just have some bands right here. And we're going to bring the band behind your head. So you're literally going to put your head underneath it and then behind. And that might take a minute to set up. So do what you need. Take your hands around the block, and you're going to pop your elbows on your surface. Move your knees back. And as you can see, we're in full flexion of the shoulders. We're keeping the hands wide with the blocks. So we're avoiding internal rotation. And we can press the elbows down to protract the shoulders. So instead of just letting our chest drop to its deepest range, push the elbows down, pull the belly and the sternum up so you can get rid of the back bend. Of course, you can do a little kind of cat-cow action as a stretch, but the engagement I want you to feel is the ability to push the elbows forward, pull the sternum up, pull the navel in, and then you can even add a little extra here where you can kind of try to bring take 2 more breaths in this stretch. 1 more. And we will come out. Lovely. We're going to add on a little further. So instead of using the block to create a boundary, we're going to activate this even more. So same idea, you're going to put a yoga strap or a band around your upper arm bones above your elbows. Instead of the block, we're going to hold a band. It could be any band, any one that you got around the house. Pop your elbows down, and you're going to pull the band apart. So this is activating while we keep the arms in flexion, and we are gently protracting. So push the elbows forward, pull the band apart. This might feel really, really hard. It feels really hard for me. So you're doing it right. And if it feels impossible to pull the band, make your strap a little bit more narrow. So you can try slightly more narrow, and you can also just grip the strap as close together as you need. So The wider it is, the harder it is. So you can bring your hands closer together, elbows on your surface, and you're pulling, pulling, pulling. As you push the shoulder blades forward, push the elbows down, and you're spreading the shoulders. Again, not letting them come together, not letting your chest drop into a back bend. Neutral spine. Pull, pull, pull. We'll do it for 5. Keep breathing. 4. Keep breathing. 2. Keep breathing. 1. Beautiful. That completes our drills to support fixing scapula winging, to improve your shoulder posture and mobility, especially as you're working towards handstands and arm balances. It's really going to support you in keeping the shoulders safe as you move towards arm balancing and handstands. I hope you enjoyed this practice. I would love to hear from you. If you have questions, if you need some tips, if something is really working for you and felt really good and supportive, would love to hear from you. Would also love to know if you have any further questions. Please reach out. And don't forget, I have a membership where I host live practices each week, and I have a full on-demand library. Sign up to join in-person retreats and trainings as well. Have a beautiful rest of your day, friends. Bye.